Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
All right, let's take it from the top again. Places. Action.
Well, let's see. We have on the bags, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know is on third.
That's what I want to find out.
I say who's on first, what's on second, I don't know is on third.
Are you the manager?
Yes.
You going to be the coach, too?
Yes.
And you know the fellow's name?
Well, I should.
Well, then who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who?
The guy playing first.
Who is on first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
That's it.
That's who?
Yes.
Join us for another voyage back in time on Classic Radio Rewind. From adventures to westerns, from comedy to sci-fi, this is your ticket to Theater of the Mind. Without any further ado, here's your host for Classic Radio Rewind, Barry Slinker.
Thank you, Dextro, and welcome to another episode of Classic Radio Rewind. I'm Barry Slinker, and we have another great lineup for the next 2 hours. Later, we will hear from the Cisco Kid from 1953, followed by an episode of Father Knows Best from 1950, and lastly, we will hear from Murder by Experts from 1949. But now we're going to begin this 2-hour journey with an episode from The Sealed Book. The story of a haunted house on a cliff near the sea and a dead woman's curse. So from April 22nd, 1945, this is The Sealed Book with Death at Storm House.
The Sealed Book. Once again, the keeper of the book has opened the ponderous door to the secret vault, wherein is kept the great sealed book, in which is recorded all the secrets and mysteries of mankind through the ages. Here are tales of every kind, tales of murder, of madness, of dark deeds strange and terrible beyond all belief. Keeper of the book, I would know what tale we tell this time. Open the great book and let us read. Slowly, the great book opens. One by one, the keeper of the book turns the pages and stops. Ah, the strange story of a beautiful woman whose jealousy was so great that even the grave could not give her peace. A tale called Death at Storm House. Here is a tale, Death at Storm House, as it is written in the pages of the sealed book. It takes place in the old New England mansion known as Storm House, perched high on the cliffs above the crashing waves of the Atlantic Ocean. In her bedroom, Lizette Lester, young and beautiful mistress of Storm House, lies desperately ill, listening to the storm that is raging outside as her husband and Dr. Warren, their lifelong friend, hover over her.
John.
Yes, Lizette?
John, open the window. I want to hear the storm. I want to hear the thunder crash and the wind scream.
I'll open it, John. You stay with Lizette. Thank you, Howard.
Oh, it's a wonderful storm. I've known it was coming for 3 days. I've always known when a storm was coming, haven't I, John?
Yes. Yes, Lizette. You've always known.
And I've been waiting for this one. I've been waiting for it so I could die as I was born. On a night when there's a storm filling the sky and death riding the wind to take me as it took my mother that night.
Lizette, don't say that.
You mustn't excite yourself, Lizette. It weakens you.
I'm dying, Doctor. You know it as well as I do. It's only the storm that's keeping me alive now.
Oh, Lizette. Lizette.
John, darling.
Yes, Lizette.
In my will, there's a bequest to old Andrew for his faithful service. Everything else is left to you, including the house. On condition that you live here at least 6 months out of every year for the rest of your life.
Lizette, I can't bear to talk about it.
We must, darling. You don't mind the condition that you live here half of every year, do you?
Of course not, my dearest.
I couldn't bear to think of you as ever very far from me, in life or in death.
I'll always be with you, my darling.
And you won't marry again, will you, John?
Never, Lizette. I swear it.
You've sworn it, John. You mustn't break your vow. If you do, I'll be angry. Very angry. And when I'm angry, I do terrible things. You know that.
I know, darling. You have my promise. I'll never break it.
It's such a beautiful night. All my life, I've never been able to sleep on a night like this. I wonder if now when the storm sweeps in from the sea, I'll know it and wake up.
Lizette. Lizette. John. She's gone.
There. It's done, Mr. John. I couldn't want better if it was myself buried down there in the ground.
Thank you, Andrew.
I'll put the tools away now. Call me if you want me.
I can't believe it's Lizette we buried here, Howard. Somehow she seems still alive. She loved living so.
It's a beautiful spot here on the edge of the cliff.
She made me promise she should be buried here, where she could watch the storms come in from the sea, hear the waves beating on the rocks below.
John, do you mind if I speak personally to you?
Why should I? You're my best friend. My only one, in fact.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. In the 3 years since you married, you haven't painted a single picture.
No. No, I haven't. I've started some, but there was always something Lizette wanted to do.
For 3 years you've been cooped up here, seeing no one. You might as well have been in prison. You should get away for a while now. Why don't you spend the winter in New York? Renew old friendship. Catch up on what's happening in painting.
Yes, I'd like that.
And there's another thing.
Yes, Howard?
The promise you made to Lizette.
Promise? Oh, you mean not to marry again?
Yes. You mustn't take it too seriously. You're too young to spend your life alone, grieving. Lizette wouldn't have made you promise if she had thought...
I don't know. It seemed to mean so much to her. Well, when Lizette was alive, it seemed quite impossible to me I should ever love another woman.
But you will, and I'm sure Lizette would understand.
I'll think about it, Howard. The truth is, just now I feel a little confused.
Well, let time take care of the matter. But you will close up Storm House and try a few months in the city?
Yes, I will. I'll come back in the spring. After all, I'm obligated to live here half the year. But I'll leave old Andrew in charge and spend the winter in New York.
And now to continue the story, as it is written in the sealed book. Once away from the somber atmosphere of Storm House, John Lester seemed to waken as if from a dream. He began to paint again, to live as he had before his marriage to Lizette. Then at a party he met Nora Maynard, young, gay, lovely. And one day in the spring he brought her back to Storm House as his bride. He introduced her to old Andrew, the caretaker, showed her through the house, then took her out to see the magnificent view from the top of the cliffs.
Oh, John, it's a wonderful old place. The house, the cliffs, the sea. I'm going to love every minute here.
I was afraid it might seem rather wild and gloomy to you, Nora.
Oh, no. Look, the clouds, the waves tossing as far as you can see, the ocean way down below us. It's magnificent.
Yeah, it can be frightening, too, when a real storm comes sweeping in from the sea.
John, what's that? Over there on that little point?
It's Storm House's private burying ground. That grave you see is Lizette's.
Lizette? Will you tell me more about her sometime, John?
Yes, of course. And now we'd better go in. It's almost dark. All of a sudden, the wind seems to be rising.
Oh, just 1 minute more.
I want to tell Andrew to phone the village for groceries before the stores close.
Well, you run in and tell him. I'll come in right away.
Then don't be long. The wind's getting cold.
Poor Lizette. I wonder what she was like. I wonder if she used to stand here and watch the darkness sweep over the sea and... John? Is that you? John, it's so dark I can't see you. John, I'll fall!
Nora, what is it?
Oh.
Did you call me, Nora?
Oh, John, you frightened me. I thought you really were trying to push me over.
Push you over?
I know you were just joking, but I almost lost my balance. I almost went over the cliff.
Nora, I didn't push you. I was halfway up the path when you called.
You were halfway up the path?
I wouldn't play a joke like that. You must have become dizzy.
I suppose so. I was sure I felt your hand push me. Then the wind seemed to force me toward the edge.
It must have been the height. Made you lose your balance.
Yes, of course. That was it.
Darling, come inside now. Promise me you won't ever go close to the edge of the cliff again.
Yes, let's go inside. And I promise, John. The cliff frightens me now.
During those first weeks after John Lester returned to Storm House with his new bride, the wind never ceased to howl about the great old house. Several times when Nora was walking near the cliffs, strong gusts sprang up that would have pushed her over to her death if she had been walking closer to the edge. Then one afternoon, Nora discovered old Andrew piling flat, large rocks on top of Lizette's grave.
There.
Andrew, what in the world are you doing? What are those rocks on Lizette's grave for?
It's the wind, Miss Nora. Blowing night and day like it has, it's been blowing the dirt right from off Miss Lizette's grave.
How strange.
Yes, sirree. give it a couple more weeks, and it'd have scooped up all the earth and had the coffin clear uncovered. But the rocks will stop that. Yeah, I guess that's enough.
Andrew.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Lizette love John so very much?
Love Mr. Lester? Why, yes, I expect she did, ma'am, in her way.
In her way?
Excuse me, Miss Nora, I got to drive to town now for a package for Mr. Lester.
Oh, his new paints from New York. He's been so impatient for them. Oh, Andrew.
Yes, ma'am?
That big stone vase on the upper terrace, right beside the steps. It's loose on its base. I saw it swaying yesterday as if it were going to fall over into the garden. Please fix it, will you?
As soon as I get back from town, ma'am.
Thank you, Andrew. You know that Dr. Warren's staying for dinner?
Yes, Mr. Lester told me.
Oh, well, I promised to meet him in the garden at 4. Be sure to fix the vase, Andrew. Hello, Dr. Warren. Have I kept you waiting long?
Well, there you are, Nora. I was just beginning to be afraid you'd gone too close to the cliff and become dizzy again.
Oh, no. After almost falling over twice, I don't take any chances now.
That's the spirit. Where's John?
Painting on the upper terrace. There he is now.
Oh.
John!
Oh, hello, you two. What are you plotting down there?
A tour of the caves down by the beach. Knock off for the day and come along.
Please do, John.
Well, maybe I will. Light's fading.
John, don't lean on the stone vase. It's loose and... Oh!
Nora, look out!
Nora, you hurt? I'm coming down.
Good grief, that was close. Fell right where you were standing.
You pulled me back just in time.
Nora, you all right?
Yes. Yes, thanks to Dr. Warren. He saved me. I couldn't move.
I can't understand it. I'd hardly touched it when I went over.
You must have leaned against it harder than you realized.
No, I didn't. I just touched it. It gave way all of a sudden. Oh, thank heaven you were here, Howard.
It must have been the wind. And the vase was loose. I was just telling Andrew to fix it.
If you'd been hurt, Nora.
Oh, a miss is as good as a mile, darling. Come on. Let's forget the caves and go in and have tea instead. The wind has turned awfully cold all of a sudden.
Listen to that confounded wind. I can't even read anymore. It makes such a racket.
Would you like me to read to you, darling?
No. I'm just jumpy, I guess.
It isn't something special, is it? You're not regretting that you married me?
Oh, don't be silly, Nora. It's just the wind. For the last 2 months, it hasn't let up night or day. Listen to it now.
Oh, it is upsetting, darling. Sometimes it sounds just like a voice saying something you can almost make out, but not quite.
I haven't painted a stroke in 2 months. Every day I get my canvas and my paints ready, and then the wind rises and distracts me.
You're not sleeping well, are you, John?
No, I haven't slept for weeks. Nora, I can't stand it any longer. I can't stand it. That wind doesn't stop blowing, I think I'll go mad.
Oh, my darling, my darling. John, listen to me. Listen to me, dear. We must go away from Storm House, away from the wind. We must, John.
But the will.
The will doesn't matter. Oh, John, please say yes. We can't ever be happy here. There's something about the place that will forever prevent us.
Leave Storm House. Never come back.
And never come back.
Yes. Yes, Nora, you're right. We'll do it. We'll leave tomorrow.
Oh, John! Oh, we're going to have another storm.
Yes. Certainly has come up quickly. Sunset, there wasn't a sign of a storm.
It's as if Storm House knows we're leaving and wants to live up to its reputation on our last night. Well, darling, I think I'll go to bed and dream about leaving here tomorrow. Coming?
No, I'll finish my pipe and tell Andrew our plans.
All right, darling. I'll bring my diary up to date while I wait. Don't be long now.
Mr. John! Mr. John.
What is it, Andrew?
Land sakes, Mr. John. A real granddaddy of a lightning bolt hit the cliff just now, right beside the burying ground. It opened up a big crack in the earth, running right across her grave.
Her grave? Lizette's?
I could look right down and see the top of the coffin.
Oh, well, you can fix it in the morning. We're going to be leaving, Andrew, but we'll settle the details tomorrow.
Better turn in now. I'll do the same.
All right, Mr. John. Sure as a humdinger of a storm.
And tomorrow we leave here forever. I do so hope it's going to make a difference. John has seemed so depressed lately. I wonder if it's my fault. If he regrets marrying me. No, I won't think that. Not even this storm tonight can frighten me now. I know John loves me and... Who turned out the light? Who came in then? John, is that you? John, where are you? Don't tease me like this. You're frightening me. John! Ah!
And now to continue the story, as it is written in the sealed book. After the great storm had opened up Lizette's grave so that her coffin was plainly visible, Nora had a midnight visitor. There was a scream, and a body crumpled to the floor. The next morning, the sheriff came to talk to John.
That's all of it, Sheriff. That's all I know. Nora screamed. When I got to her, she was lying there on the floor. Dead. Murdered.
But the weapon, Mr. Lester. We know it was that antique ivory paper knife of yours, because the point broke off in the wound. But where is it?
I don't know. I tell you, I didn't see it.
I see. Well, I think you better come with me for the time being, Mr. Lester. Here's the prisoner, Doctor. You can see him for 15 minutes.
Oh, Howard, thank heaven you've come.
John, how are you?
Oh, how am I? I don't know. I don't care. Howard, have they caught Nora's murderer?
They still think you did it.
I gather that they did. And the ivory knife hasn't been found?
Nowhere. And we've searched every inch. John, think. I know when you found Nora, you were shocked and dazed. But the knife, surely you saw it. Surely you drew it from the wound, put it down somewhere. You must have.
I've tried to think, Howard. I'm sure I'm right. There was no knife. Only Nora, crumpled beside her writing desk. The blood staining her nightdress. The wind screaming outside as if in triumph.
I understand. I know you didn't murder Nora. I don't know how we're going to convince the world.
Is it as bad as that?
As bad as that. If only the knife had been found, it could have been suicide then. The knife is gone, And you testify that Andrew is innocent. So, as there wasn't any other living soul but yourself in the house that night...
I see. Well, I've told them all I can. I don't know how the knife could have disappeared. There's nothing more I can do. Even though they hang me.
And hang John Lester they did, after a due and lawful trial. For in the jury's eyes, the fact of the missing ivory knife that had killed Nora Lester was damning evidence. After the execution, John's old friend, Dr. Warren, conveyed the body homeward to Stormhouse, where he and faithful old John buried it in the tiny burying ground. Andrew dug the grave close between the graves of Nora and Lizette. So close, in fact, that while digging, his pick struck a coffin.
Doctor, look.
Corner of a coffin. Lizette's coffin, it must be.
Yes. That night the lightning struck the cliff. Must have moved her coffin round somehow. I remember the grave looked a little queer next morning when I fixed things up.
I guess we'll have to dig it up so we can put it back in its proper place.
Yeah, guess we better, Doctor. Well, won't take long. Doctor. Guess that does it all right.
Good. Now we'll just slide the coffin back into its place. You've made plenty of room.
Dr. Warren.
What is it, Andrew?
The lid of this coffin's been tampered with.
Tampered with? But that's impossible.
Come take a look, Doctor. You'll see I'm right.
I guess I'd better. Stand aside, Andrew.
Yes.
Now, just what do you mean?
Look, Doctor. All along both sides and this end.
The screws. They're all loose.
Yes.
They've been pulled out of the wood when someone lifted the lid. This coffin's been forced open.
That's right, Doctor. Only, look, how was it forced open? There's no tool marks on the wood.
No tool marks. Then whoever did this just didn't leave any. Andrew, we've got to look inside and see why Lizette's coffin was molested.
Maybe we'd better leave it just as it is, Doctor.
We can't do that. Here, put your pick under the edge and the lid. That's it. Now, lift.
Well, if you say so.
Easy does it. There. It's loose. Now, we'll see what...
I told you. I told you we shouldn't open it.
A bloody knife. The ivory knife that killed Nora. Here, in Lizette's coffin.
They hung Mr. John because they couldn't find the knife. And it's been here all along, held tight in Lizette's hand.
So it was beautiful Lizette who killed Nora. Lizette, whose jealousy was so great that it reached back from behind the veil of death. And it was Lizette who took the knife of murder back into her grave with her, so that John, too, would suffer her vengeance. Or was it? Was there some other answer? You must decide that for yourself, for the sealed book does not say. You have heard the story in all its strangeness, just as it is written here. And now, keeper of the book, before you close the great book, show us the tale we tell next time. This one? Ah, yes. Why, this is amazing. It's a tale of a man who killed, a corpse that laughed, and a murder victim who died twice. A tale called The Accusing Corpse. Be sure to be with us again next time, when the sound of the great gong heralds another strange and exciting tale from The Sealed Book. The Sealed Book, written by Bob Arthur and David Cogan, is produced and directed by Jock McGregor.
That was The Sealed Book with Death at Stormhouse, as originally heard April 22nd, 1945. Up next on Classic Radio Rewind is an episode from the Cisco Kid. Cisco is tasked with infiltrating the Malloy gang to bring them down from the inside. This mission might lead to Cisco and Pancho parting ways for the first time. From April 7th, 1953, this is the Cisco Kid with Secret Mission.
Here's adventure. Here's romance. Here's the famous Robin Hood of the Old West.
Cisco, the sheriff, he is getting closer.
This way, Pancho. Vámonos. The Cisco Kid. Now, the Cisco Kid in our gripping story, Secret Mission. In many sections of the Old Southwest, it was almost impossible to enforce the law due to the scarcity of officials and the vast spaces of escape open to criminals. Now and then, however, some smart official devised a scheme to beat the outlaws at their own game. And so it is, early one afternoon, that we find the Cisco Kid riding a seldom-used trail some distance out of the town of Valley Gorge.
Yeah, it's just another horse, Diablo. We were expecting him and his rider to be there. Oh, Diablo. Buenos dias, Senor Marshal.
Howdy, Cisco. You're right on time. Let's go sit down in the shade.
Si, senor.
It ought to be nice and cool here.
Si.
Sit down.
Gracias, senor.
I'll come right to the point, Cisco. I sent word to you to meet me here because I didn't want anybody to see us talking. I'm hoping you'll help me round up the Malloy gang.
It's a bad gang, senor.
It's the worst gang I ever come up against. Sure as my name's John Rich. The smartest, too. They're robbing and killing all over this part of the country, and we can't get a shred of evidence against them. According to my diary, they've been on the loose here for 6 months.
What do you want me to do, Senor Rich?
I want you to join up with that gang and lead them into a job where we can nab them.
Calls for a lot of thought. In the first place, I doubt that they will let me join them.
I got that all figured out, Cisco. You'll have to establish yourself as an outlaw, not only to them, but to everybody else, except me, of course. And to do that, you'll have to rob the Valley Gorge Bank.
That is a drastic measure, senor.
It's a drastic circumstance. You can hide the money in the mountains. And after we get the gang, you can turn it back, and I'll clear you with the bank and the sheriff. But until the Malloys are under arrest with enough evidence to convict them, you and I are the only ones who'll know anything about it.
I do not know about this, Senor Marshal. Suppose I do agree to rob the bank.
It'll be mighty dangerous, Cisco. There's a chance you'll get shot down robbing the bank. There's lots of risk.
Tell me, what is the job you wish me to lead them into?
A shipment of gold's going east by train 1 week from today. And I want you to arrange for the Malloys to be at the pass, ready to rob that train. Now, here, take this little colored stone, Cisco. And if you can arrange it, toss the stone down into the clearing below their camp, and I'll have one of my men on the lookout for it. Well, how about it?
There is just one thing that bothers me.
Yeah? What's that?
Pancho. He will not understand. And I cannot tell him to make him understand.
Well, it looks to me as though you'd have to break with him temporarily, Cisco.
No, that is a very difficult thing to do, senor. Pancho and I are inseparable.
I know. It's a lot to ask of you, but last week over in the Pine Hill country, a woman and her 3 children were shot to death by that gang.
There is only one answer to that, Senor Rich. I will accept his secret mission. This is very bad. I'd rather do anything in the world than hurt Pancho. No matter how I try, he will not understand. It must be done. Oh, Diablo. Oh.
Cisco! Cisco! You back? Oh, Pancho, glad. Where you been, Cisco?
Oh, sometimes I like to go places alone, Pancho.
But, Cisco, why'd you not take Pancho with you? Pancho always go where Cisco go.
Now, look, amigo.
Huh?
There is no reason why I should take you everywhere I go. You are not a child.
What Cisco say? Pancho not understand. You not mean this, Cisco.
You heard what I said? There are times when I want to be alone.
But Cisco, everywhere Cisco go, Pancho go. Pancho always want to be with Cisco.
See, Pancho, I know. But I am tired of always having you with me. I'm getting very tired of your company.
Oh, Pancho, no. Cisco make the joke. Cisco try to fool Pancho.
I am not joking, Pancho.
Huh?
This time we are through. Finished. You will go your way, I will go mine.
Pancho hear what you say, Cisco, but Pancho not believe what he hear. Oh, Cisco, please tell Pancho, do not say this.
I said it and you heard it, Pancho. I mean exactly what I said. I'm going to ride away, and I'm going to ride away alone.
But, Cisco, you not can do this. Pancho ride with Cisco, and Pancho fight with Cisco, Pancho live with Cisco, and Pancho want to die with Cisco.
Do not try to plead with me, Pancho. I have told you. We have come to the end of the trail. I'm leaving you here, and I'm going away.
See, Cisco. Pancho understand. You're going to leave Pancho, but what Pancho do?
I do not know, and I do not care. We have talked enough. Adios.
Cisco.
Well?
Pancho follow behind Cisco a little ways?
I have told you no.
But Pancho not be with Cisco. Pancho just follow along behind Cisco. Pancho not bother Cisco.
I do not want you to follow me at all. We are finished. You understand?
Si, Cisco. Pancho try to understand, but Pancho really not understand.
Pancho, I am sick and tired of this life we've been leading. Everywhere I go, I have to worry about you. I want excitement. I want to be untrammeled. I cannot have excitement, and I cannot have you when I want to look for something and have you with me every minute.
See, Cisco, not can be bothered with Pancho.
Oh, it's enough. Do not say any more, Pancho. You may stay here in this camp or you may go your way. I do not care. Which?
Cisco not care what becomes of Pancho.
That is right. I do not care. But whatever you do, do not follow me.
Pancho not follow you, Cisco. Pancho not know where he go. Cisco, you take something to remember Pancho by?
No, we have said enough. Do not even want to remember you.
Pancho like to give Cisco his knife. It's a very good knife, Cisco. Pancho like this knife better than anything, except Cisco.
I do not want your knife or anything you have. Diablo!
Pancho not say no more, Cisco. Pancho not can say no more.
Easy, Diablo. There is nothing more to say. Adios, Pancho. Adios. Up, Diablo. Ah, yeah.
Pancho not understand. Pancho not done anything bad. See, Loco. Pancho know. Loco see Diablo go, and Loco want to go too. Cisco and Diablo not want us no more, Loco. They not want us no more.
Oh, Diablo. Ho. Wait from here, Diablo. Do not stray. Stand where you are, everyone. Get your hands above your heads, quickly.
Cisco, what in thunder are you doing?
No talking, Sheriff. Get your hands up. You in the teller's cage. Lift that wicket.
Look, Cisco, a joke's a joke.
Up with that wicket instantly, or you are a dead man. Now, that money, all of it. Put it in this sack. Be careful, Sheriff. If you wish to live, do not reach for that gun. Do not even move.
That's all the money there is in the till, Cisco.
Here, give me that sack. Now, lie down on the floor. Face down, all of you.
Cisco, madre mia.
I thought I told you not to follow me, Pancho.
Pancho not can help, Father Cisco. Oh, Cisco, what you do? You not know.
Lie down on the floor, Pancho, like the rest of them. Quickly, line that footing.
Si, Cisco. Oh, please, Pancho, dream all this.
Pancho had no hand in this bank robbery, Sheriff. I pledge you my word at that. Do not hold him for it. Stay right where you are, all of you. Do not move. Do not move, any of you.
Jim, hand me that rifle. Quick, the one in the cage.
Get the coyote, Sheriff.
Oh, no, Sheriff, do not shoot it. Cisco!
Oh, look out, let go! There. Now, blast your hide. Spoil my aim, will you?
Pancho not let you shoot Cisco, Sheriff.
Grab him, Sheriff. Don't let him get away.
You bet I'm grabbing him. I'll put the handcuffs on him right now. Yeah. Pancho, I'm arresting you as an accomplice to Cisco in robbing this bank.
Cisco not rob this bank, Sheriff.
Oh, no, not much he didn't. I know what I see.
Pancho not believe what he see. Pancho not believe Cisco robbed this bank.
Whoa! Hey, Blackie! Blackie Malloy!
I'm over here. When you want to see me, come where I am.
I didn't know you was in camp, Blackie.
Did you look over the Valley Gorge Bank like I told you to, Tad?
Yeah, but we ain't gonna take the bank, Blackie. It's been took. I saw it took.
What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, I saw it took. A lone job. And who do you suppose done it?
Never mind the guessing games. Come on, who was it?
The Cisco kid.
What?
Sure as you're standing there, Blackie. I was across the street looking over the layoff when Cisco rode up, got off his horse, and went in. A couple of minutes later, he came backing out with a sack in one hand and his six-gun in the other. Jumped on his horse and rode away at a full gallop. Next thing, the sheriff come to the door with a rifle. Took aim and fired. But that sidewinding partner of Cisco's knocked the sheriff's gun away.
You sure that was Cisco, Tad?
Of course I'm sure. I don't know that buzzard. He had me sent up for 3 years for stealing a saddle some 10 years ago.
I can't quite figure that out. Cisco's always been with the law.
Neither can I, but there it is. I wish that sheriff's bullet had got the maverick.
So he took that bank alone, huh?
Yeah, Pancho was there, too.
He didn't ride away with Cisco, eh?
No, the sheriff got him, took him over to jail with a steel on him.
I wonder how Cisco happened to ride away and leave the other one there.
If you ask me, Cisco would cross up his own brother. Hey, look, Blackie, down the trail.
Huh?
It's him, Cisco.
Riding up here, is he?
I'll get him when he makes the turn into camp. I'll get even with
Wait a minute. I'm giving the orders around here. Now shut up, Tad, and let him come in. I'm kind of curious to know what he wants. Maybe he can be useful to us.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, Malloy.
Howdy. Here you took the bank, Cisco.
News travels fast, I see.
Yeah.
See, I did rob the bank, Malloy. I would like to hide out in your camp.
Well, we might arrange that. Suppose I let you hide out here for a split of the gold you got.
Oh, no, that is not fair. If you had been on the job with me, that would be different.
Don't trust the coyote, Blackie.
Shut up, Tad. I'm doing the talking.
But I'm telling you.
I said shut up. Now get out of here and stay out till you're sent for.
All right, Blackie. Don't get sore.
That hombre looks familiar.
Never mind him, Cisco. So you won't make a split, huh?
Not on that job, no. But I'm planning another one in about a week. We might talk about that.
What is it?
A gold train.
Gold train, huh? Where'd you hear about that?
I make it my business to hear about such things, Malloy. If you are interested, we will talk about it. If not, I will do the job alone.
Yeah, I'm interested. Sure. All right, Cisco. You can hide out here in camp. And we'll talk about the gold train. But you're going to be watched, see? And if you try any funny business, you're a dead man.
Hey, you, Pancho.
See, Sheriff?
Look, I ain't gonna keep bringing you food if you don't eat it. You didn't touch that food I brought you this noon.
Pancho not hungry.
And you didn't eat nothing all day yesterday, neither.
Pancho not hungry.
Well, I don't know how I can make you eat if you don't want to. Jury's verdict kind of upset you, huh?
Pancho not care what the jury's verdict. Pancho not care about nothing no more.
Yeah, but they let you off easy, Pancho. They only give you 2 years, count of your previous good record.
2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Pancho not care.
Well, anyway, I got to worry about you much longer. No, not about your eating either. I'm flagging down the train in 1 more hour to take you over to the penitentiary. And you'll be off my hands.
Pancho's sorry to be a bother, Sheriff.
And Pancho not ever be a bother to nobody no more.
Bitterly disillusioned, still not believing, Pancho's heart is near the breaking point. In just a moment, we'll return to our story of the Cisco Kid. Now, back to the Cisco Kid and our exciting story, Secret Mission. At the request of United States Territorial Marshal Rich, and in order to get into the confidence of the Malloy gang, Cisco robbed the Valley Gorge Bank, and in so doing broke the heart of his faithful Pancho, whom he could not take into his confidence. In the outlaw camp, Cisco has nearly convinced Blackie Malloy that he is actually turned outlaw. But one of the gang hates Cisco. Now...
Hey, Blackie.
What do you want now, Tad?
That's Cisco. He's trying to put over something.
Go on, I'm listening.
I just followed him down to the edge of the cliff. When he got there, he looked all around, and then he tossed something over the cliff.
You're mighty anxious to get something on Cisco, ain't you, Tad?
I tell you, he did toss something over. Call him over here, and I'll tell him to his face.
Here he comes now. We'll see.
You sneaking pack rat, Cisco.
Be careful what you call me, hombre. I do not care for such names.
Trying to double-cross us, are you?
What do you mean?
What was that you just tossed over the cliff?
Over the cliff?
Come on. What was it?
Yeah, I'd kind of like to know that myself, Cisco.
It was a small rock, Malloy. I see no cause for such excitement over tossing a rock over a cliff. It is something anyone might do.
Sure didn't look like a rock to me.
Very well, then what did it look like?
Looked like a piece of paper. A note.
Then I suggest that you go down to the foot of the cliff and look around.
Was it a note, Cisco?
I have already said it was a rock, Malloy. This understrapper of yours is making up a story. He would like you to believe it.
You're a liar, Cisco.
If I were you, hombre, I would take that back.
I see you're a sneaking liar, and I'm making you admit it.
I do not agree with you.
I'll break your back.
You are big, hombre.
Why, you...
But you are not big enough to do that.
Why, you...
Let us end this fight quickly. There. There, now. Did I toss a note over the cliff, or was it a rock? Come on, answer me, hombre.
All right, it was a rock.
You're sure of that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You sure can fight, Cisco. That hombre can lick any two other men in this camp.
Gracias. How about that gold train, Malloy? Are you and your men going with me, or do I go alone? It is time to be riding.
Yeah, we're going with you, Cisco. And we're still watching you every second, see? All right, you mavericks, saddle up.
Handcuffs too tight on you, Pancho? Well, are they?
What the sheriff say?
Them handcuffs too tight.
No, senor. Not too tight.
The way you've been acting, I don't believe you'd notice it if they was too tight. Oh, Marshal Rich is aboard this train, huh? Howdy, Marshal.
Well, howdy, Sheriff. Well, Pancho, kind of sorry to see this.
Gracias, senor marshal. Make no difference to Pancho.
It takes it hard, doesn't it, Sheriff?
Yeah, awful hard.
Well, something may turn up soon. Can't tell about those things. We're pulling up through the pass in a couple of more minutes. Have your guns handy, Sheriff.
Why?
Oh, nothing special. Can't say for sure. But there might be an attempted holdup.
Cisco?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not.
Cisco not hold up this train. Cisco not hold up the bank either. Pancho not want you to talk this way about Cisco.
All right, easy now, Pancho.
Well, it might be the Malloys.
You got some advance information, huh, Marshal?
I ain't saying, but be ready with your guns. So long.
Yeah, I guess that means action if he talks that way. Just to be on the safe side, Pancho, I'm going to unlock myself from you. Now, I'll put this on your other wrist. I'm going up and get a drink of water. Sit there till I get back.
Cisco not hold up the train. But if Cisco here, Pancho not let Cisco get shot. Pancho let Pancho get shot first.
Here's the pass, Malloy.
Whoa! Couple of you hombres, roll that big rock down onto the track.
What's the idea of the rock, Malloy?
What do you think the idea is, Cisco?
Wreck the train, of course.
There is no need to do that. I will swing aboard the locomotive. We'll not be going fast up this grade and make the engineer bring it to a stop.
Look, Cisco, I'm running this. You do as you're told.
I'll watch that hombre for you, Blackie. That's a job I'd like.
Very well. As you wish, Mulroy.
The train's coming now. Hurry up with that rock.
All right. Here she go.
No matter who is running this, I'm not going to see that train wrecked needlessly.
All right. Then get out on the track and stop it before it hits that rock.
That is just what I am going to do.
You better let me gun him down, Blackie. I tell you, that hombre's got something up his sleeve.
Keep quiet, will you? We'll watch him. Only thing is, he's got his way of doing things. I got mine. After all, Tad, he did rob that bank.
Just the same, I wouldn't trust him.
Well, look, he's waving his arms to bring him to a stop.
I hope they gun him down, excepting I'd like that pleasure.
The train's stopping.
I'll stay right behind Cisco, Blackie.
You stay under cover till I give the word.
Get your hands up.
Hey, there's men up behind us. Look at them with guns.
Come on, all right, my boys. You're surrounded. Throw down your guns, all of you.
It's a trap. That's the marshal.
Throw down your guns or my men will open fire.
I'll get that marshal. I told you Cisco was double-crossing us, Blackie. I'll get him.
I would really not be too sure of that if I were you.
See,
I am here, Pancho.
Cisco, look out behind you.
I'll kill you, you double-crosser.
That is what you may think, but I have other ideas.
Pancho, come help you, Cisco.
You ain't going nowhere, Pancho. You're my prisoner.
But Cisco in the trouble, Sheriff. Cisco fight 1, 2, 3 hombres.
I'm taking Cisco. Get your hands up.
I would like to oblige you, Sheriff, but you can see both of my hands are busy.
All right, that's enough, Cisco. Throw down your guns, boys. They got us outnumbered.
Sure, I'll throw down my gun after I use it on Cisco.
You'll
not use that gun on Cisco.
Pancho, give him one good punch with a handcuff.
Stand still, Cisco. You're under arrest for robbing the Valley Gorge Bank.
See, Sheriff, I will stand still. But if you will call Marshal Rich over here, he will explain everything to you. Santo, what is that I see? The marshal is lying on the ground.
Yeah, one of them bullets got him. Don't try no tricks, Cisco. I got a pair of handcuffs right here for you.
The marshal is dead?
Mighty close to it, I'm afraid.
Sheriff, I must see the marshal. If not for my sake, then for Pancho's.
Stand still, I said.
Come with me, but I must see him, and I will see him. Put your gun on my back if you wish, but come with me.
All right, but I'm warning you.
Is he dead, senor?
Not quite, but he's going fast.
I must see him. I'm very sorry you are wounded, Senor Rich. I'm sure you will soon recover.
No, I'm a goner. Stoop down. Cisco, Sheriff.
See.
What is it, Marshal?
Cisco helped me. My diary, Sheriff. I told him to rob the bank. My diary.
Marshal.
He's dead, Senor Sheriff. But he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. He got Molloy's gang of bandidos.
Cisco, what do you mean by saying he told you to rob that bank?
He meant just that, Sheriff. He asked me to become a bandido in order that the bandidos would let me join their gang, in order that I could bring them to this trap.
No, Cisco, I can't swallow that. Not even from a dying man. He was too far gone to know what he was saying.
Very well, Sheriff. I will go with you to the jail. So, that is the way it was, Pancho.
Oh, Cisco, not a bandido.
Only because the marshal asked me to be amigo, and for no other reason.
Cisco not want to go away and leave Pancho?
No, Pancho.
Cisco still want Pancho for his compañero?
Of course I still want you for mi compañero, Pancho. I had to tell you those things to keep you from following me. Was all I could tell you.
Then Pancho not care we in this jail, Cisco. Pancho not care for anything, just so long as he is Cisco's compañero. What Pancho do to show you how he feels, Cisco? What Pancho do?
I think I understand, Chico. You do not have to do anything.
Pancho got to do something. Pancho's so happy now. Look, Cisco, look. Pancho stand on his hands. Look.
See, amigo.
Look, Cisco. Pancho turned the summer of the sword. Santo, Pancho land on his head.
Be careful, Pancho. There is not room in this cell to turn somersaults.
What's all this racket in here?
Pancho make the what you call it, Cisco?
The celebration?
See, Sheriff. The celebration because Cisco still want Pancho with him. Oh, is he? And Pancho hungry, Sheriff. Pancho now could eat the bear.
Well, I don't see any reason why you can't go eat the bear if you want to. Both of you.
You mean we are free, Senor Sheriff?
Just as free as the four winds, Cisco. I got hold of this marshal's diary. He tells all about his talk with you and the plan you cooked up.
So that is what he meant when he mentioned his diary.
Yeah, I guess so. Also, I talked with the deputy, Cisco. Seems at the last minute the marshal took the deputy into his confidence and told him the whole plan. So, you can go, if...
If what, Sheriff?
If you'll return that gold to the bank. Jim Thurston, the banker, knows the whole story, and he's agreed not to press charges if he gets his money back.
He shall have every cent of it back. Come, we will ride to the big rock on the mountainside where I hid it.
I don't need to go with you, Cisco. Any man who'll go through what you did to help the law, knowing that everybody turned against you, risking your life that way, well, I'd trust him to the limit.
Gracias, Sheriff.
And Pancho tells you Cisco not rob that bank, Sheriff.
Pancho, that is all over with.
And Pancho got eyes in his head, but Pancho got better eyes down inside here. And those eyes tell him the eyes in his head lie when they see Cisco rob that bank. Look out, Sheriff. And Pancho got to turn another summer of the sword. Oh, too fat. Cisco.
Si, Pancho.
Sometimes Cisco and Pancho ride to another part of the country, no?
Oh, we can do that, amigo. We can ride anywhere we wish.
Yeah, and Pancho wish sometime.
How would you like us to ride to the North Woods, Pancho?
No, Cisco. Pancho not never want to ride to the North Woods again.
Oh, you have been there?
Oh, see, Cisco. Pancho go there once to catch the fish.
And did you not like the North Woods?
And Pancho liked the North Woods, but Pancho not like those big mosquitoes.
Were there many mosquitoes?
Oh, see, many mosquitoes, Cisco. And then at night, the mosquitoes go flash like this.
Oh, those were not mosquitoes, Pancho. Those were lightning bugs.
Lightning bugs?
Si.
Oh, well, if Pancho know this, Pancho not quit and come home.
Well, did you quit and come home, amigo?
Si, Cisco. Pancho quit. And Pancho think those mosquitoes out looking for Pancho with lanterns.
Oh, Pancho!
Oh, Cisco! Go now, go!
And so ends another exciting adventure with O. Henry's famous Robin Hood of the West, the Cisco Kid. Be sure to listen again for another thrilling adventure of the Cisco Kid. Cisco Kid was played by Jack Mather, Pancho by Harry Lang.
That was the Cisco Kid with Secret Mission, as originally heard April 7th, 1953. And before you know it, this just wrapped up hour number 1 of Classic Radio Rewind. We have comedy and mystery just around the corner when Classic Radio Rewind returns right after these messages with hour number 2. Welcome to hour number 2 of Classic Radio Rewind, and this hour will be just as exciting as the first hour. Starting off the second hour is comedy from Father Knows Best. A talent scout arrives in town, and Betty is convinced she's about to land a screen test. From May 18th, 1950, this is Father Knows Best in Betty's Screen Test.
Mother, is Maxwell House really the only coffee in the world?
Well, your father says so, and your father knows best.
Yes, it's Father Knows Best, transcribed in Hollywood, starring Robert Young as father. A half-hour visit with your neighbors, the Andersons. Brought to you by America's favorite coffee, Maxwell House. The coffee that's always good to the last drop. To be or not to be, that's quite a question, isn't it? Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles. That's a question, too, and quite a problem. In Springfield, in the white frame house on Maple Street, the Andersons are old hands when it comes to questions and problems. Big problems, little problems, they've had their share of them all. Like this.
I've never seen anything like it in my whole life.
Jim.
Oh. Bless, O Lord, this food to our use and our lives to thy service. Amen.
Amen. All right, Kathy, eat your dinner.
Say, Dad. Tell me golf is a game of skill.
Dad.
He couldn't do anything wrong, and I couldn't do anything right.
Dad.
What is it, Bud?
Look at Betty.
What about her? Betty? Betty,
What?
what's the matter with you?
Nothing, Father. Nothing at all.
Well, stop daydreaming and eat your dinner.
Yes, Father.
She still thinks she's Camille.
All right, Kathy.
I think she's nuts.
Bud.
Well, holy cow, Mom. She walks around coughing all the time.
Never mind, Bud. Just eat your dinner and be quiet.
Holy cow.
You know what he did on the sixth hole, Margaret? He sliced one out of bounds, it hit a tree, and bounced right back on the green.
Yes, dear.
That's a great way to win the semifinals, isn't it? Skill. Huh.
Daddy,
What is it, Kathy?
why do they call Marguerite the Lady of the Camellias?
Because that's what she wore, camellias. Now forget about it and eat your dinner.
Gee whiz.
Betty, will you please pass the butter?
Father,
What is it, Betty?
it's very kind of you, monsieur, to speak to me so gently.
What?
Here is the butter.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Betty, what in the name of... What's gotten into you?
Why, nothing, Father.
Well, then stop it. The play is over. You were wonderful. You were sensational, but it's over. Now come on back to earth.
It's all right, Jim. It may take her a few days, but she'll get over it.
I know, but a man can stand just so much. We've had Camille for breakfast, dinner, and supper for the last month, and I'm getting sick of it. If this keeps up, she won't be in any more plays, and that's a promise.
What a play.
Oh, Armand, I love you.
Nobody even got shot or anything.
Father,
What is it, Betty?
do you know who was in the audience last night?
We were.
A talent scout from Hollywood. Wouldn't it be wonderful?
Betty,
Yes, Father.
don't fall into the swimming pool.
What?
Betty, I saw the show last night, and, well, this is a practical world. You've got to realize...
Jim.
Margaret, I'm merely trying to explain to her...
Jim, she's so young. Let her dream, just for a little while.
Well, I think the entire thing is ridiculous.
Me too.
Eat your dinner and be quiet.
Gee whiz.
I'm going to dedicate myself, my entire life, to the theater.
Bud, pass the potatoes, please.
Do you want to know why?
No. Come on, Bud.
Here you are, Dad.
Thank you.
Because there are moments when I lose myself in that dream. Because there are days when I am weary of the life I lead and imagine that I have another. Because in the midst of my turbulent existence, though my reason, my pride, my senses are alive, my heart is so tired of never finding tender understanding. Little do people care.
Ah, shut up.
Bud.
Mother.
What he said.
Bud, how dare you speak that way to your sister?
Well, holy cow, Mom.
Jim, will you please say something to Bud?
Hello, Bud.
Hi, Dad.
Jim Anderson, it is not funny, and I don't care what Betty did. There's no excuse.
Your mother's right, Bud. You shouldn't have said it.
I know, Dad, but good gravy.
No, Betty, you're sorry, and, well, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Betty. I shouldn't have said what I said.
You want me to forgive you? Dear one, what is there to forgive? In a world such as ours...
Betty, for Pete's sake, cut it out.
But, Father...
You've been spouting Camille around here until I've got it coming out of my ears. Now stop it.
Very well. But when I'm a famous movie star and they ask me who is responsible for my success...
Margaret, she isn't just counting her chickens. She's selling next year's eggs.
Betty, we mustn't raise our hopes too high.
What do you mean, our hopes? Bud, that was the doorbell.
I know.
Well, answer it.
Holy cow. You'd think there was a law that nobody else was allowed to open the door.
Margaret, you certainly don't think that Betty has a chance of being a movie star, do you?
Why not? I've seen certain people a lot less talented than Betty.
But she isn't trained for it. She isn't prepared.
Father, they train you.
And she and Janie Liggett are both preparing.
What?
Kathy.
Well, you and Janie were trying on sweaters, and she said...
Kathy.
Kathy, why don't you go in and do your homework?
I haven't finished my milk.
Well, finish it. And behave yourself.
Hi, Betty.
Oh, Billy, come on
Hello,
in.
Billy. Glad to see you.
Hello, Mr. Anderson, Mrs. Anderson. Beautiful evening, isn't it?
Oh, hello, Billy. How are your mother and father?
Just fine, thank you.
Would you care for a piece of cake?
No, thanks. We've got to run along. Janie Liggett's throwing a big party for the Dramatic Club. Sort of a celebration, you know.
Yes, Betty was telling us. Bud, what are you doing out there?
I'm waiting for the doorbell to ring again.
Stop being such a smart aleck and come back here. Unless you'd rather skip your dinner.
Well, every time I sit down, the doorbell rings, and I'm the only one who ever gets to answer it, so...
Sit down and finish your dinner.
Holy cow.
We were just talking about the play. Weren't we, Jim?
Yes, we certainly were.
We thought it was wonderful. Didn't we, dear?
Yes, we certainly were talking about it.
Billy, tell him what the club critique said about my performance.
Well, as the director of the various productions, I run a critique after each performance, a sort of symposium. And we're quite ruthless in our critical analysis, in a constructive way, of course.
Of course.
What did he say?
Never mind. Just drink your milk.
I drank it.
Well, drink Bud's. Go ahead, Billy.
Well, as I was saying, we decided that while Betty's performance lacked the polish of a more experienced artiste, it had warmth, spirit, and a certain objective maturity you can only describe as éclat.
You don't say.
Oh, yes. Why, when she was dying, didn't you notice the brilliant resonance in her cough? She had a timbre you'll find in mighty few Camille's.
Well, she comes by it naturally. Her grandfather was a champion hog collar.
Jim, Billy and Betty are being quite sincere and earnest.
Well, so am I. Just because you can cough loud, that doesn't mean they're going to send you to Hollywood.
Who said anything about Hollywood?
Billy Smith, you told me there was a talent scout in the audience.
Woman's place is in the home, caring for her family, sharing the joys and sorrows of the man she loves.
Mother, have you ever heard anything more prehistoric?
Betty, I really don't think...
Just a minute, Margaret. Betty, this is one quarrel you aren't going to drag us into. If you and Billy want to fight, do it on your own time.
But, Father, he's so pig-headed.
I am not pig-headed. I just believe in equal rights for men. That's all.
Betty, if you're going to the Liggett's, go.
I spent a whole month preparing for Camille.
Betty.
And then he has the nerve to tell me...
Betty.
Yes, Father?
Go.
Well, come on, Billy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Billy. Glad you
I
came
won't
over.
be out too late, Mother.
All right, dear. Have a good time.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Gosh, Betty, I didn't mean to get you all excited.
I'm not excited, but there's no reason why I can't take a screen test if I want to.
But why? I told you in the very beginning.
Of all the idiotic arguments I've ever heard...
Well, at least it's a little different.
Daddy,
What is it, Kathy?
why doesn't Billy want Betty to go into the movies?
I don't know, baby. I guess he just wants her to stay in Springfield.
Why?
So they can smooch, Dopey.
Bud.
Well, if she doesn't know...
Bud, if there are any clinical replies to be given around here, please let me give them.
Holy cow.
Kathy, you see, when you're very young and in love, you dream up all kinds of things. Now, actually, there isn't any reason for Betty and Billy.
There, you see?
What?
I told you it was going to ring again, and you said I was being a smart aleck.
I don't know. Isn't there going to be one evening we can go through without all this fuss and excitement?
Bud, stop making such an issue of it and answer the door.
I'll answer it myself. He can finish his dinner.
I'll go, Dad.
Never mind. Just do as you're told. Has to walk a full 20 feet to get to the front door. You'd think it was going to kill him.
I'll pour your coffee, dear.
All right, Margaret. I'll be right back.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes?
My name is Kay. Alfred Kay. May I come in?
Why, yes. Come right in.
Thank you. You probably heard that I was in town.
Well, quite frankly, no.
Oh, I thought you had. Mr. Anderson, I represent the Metropolitan Picture Corporation of Hollywood.
Metropolitan? You mean you're the talent scout?
You did hear about me.
Margaret, he's here. He came.
Jim, what is it?
The talent scout, he's it. I mean, he's here. He's right here now.
Mr. Anderson, there's no need to get excited.
What on earth are you talking about?
What's the matter, Dad?
I want to see, too.
Margaret, this is my wife, Mrs. Kay. I mean...
Mrs. Anderson, I'm Alfred Kay of Metropolitan Pictures.
Oh, no.
Holy cow.
Gosh.
Now, let's not get excited, children. Let's just keep our heads. Just keep our heads.
Bud, call the Liggets immediately. Tell them to send Betty home at once.
Okay, Mom.
Oh, I wouldn't go to all that trouble, Mrs. Anderson.
Oh, it's no trouble, Mr. Kay. No trouble at all. Let's go into the living room where we can be more comfortable.
Oh, thank you. That'll be very nice.
You can't imagine how excited we are, Mr. Kay.
Well, I think I can. After all, a thing like this doesn't happen every day, does it? Well, that's better.
Don't I get to say hello?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy. Mr. Kay, this is our younger daughter, Kathleen.
Yeah. Yes. I noticed her in the audience last night. How are you, Kathleen?
I'm very pleased to meet you, sir.
Sweet child. Mr. Anderson.
Hey, Mom. Betty isn't there yet, but I told them about the talent scout, and they said they'd send her home the second that she came in.
That's fine, Bud, just fine.
We're very proud of Betty, Mr. Kay.
But I'm not sure she wants to go into pictures. You see...
Well, that needn't bother us, Mr. Anderson. I want to talk to you about a screen test for Kathleen.
Kathy?
Oh, no.
A cup of coffee keeps right on making good news these days. In stores everywhere, grocers have been featuring Maxwell House at lower prices. And now they're featuring lower prices still on America's favorite brand of coffee. Something we're all happy to see. You, your grocer, and Maxwell House, too. Now the world's most famous coffee flavor comes to you at the lowest prices in months. Wonderful, good to the last drop flavor you can count on cup after cup, day after day. Because with Maxwell House coffee, we have just one aim, to bring you the most in flavor and satisfaction every pound you buy. To bring you truly good coffee at the lowest possible price. That's why you find so much more flavor for your money in Maxwell House. Your money's worth and more in real pleasure. And at today's prices, it's more than ever today's coffee buy. Look for that familiar blue Maxwell House tin in your store. Featured these days at still lower prices. The lowest prices in months. See how much you enjoy a cup of coffee that's always good to the last drop.
A very few minutes have passed in the white frame house on Maple Street, and the status is not what you would call exactly quo. Betty is on her way back from the Liggets to meet the talent scout, and Billy Smith, who is jealous, doesn't want her to meet the talent scout. We think. But that's all right because the talent scout has left anyway. And besides, he didn't want Betty, he wanted Kathy. And furthermore, well, you can see how, with just a little consideration and common sense, normal excitement can be completely controlled and turned into a sort of seething confusion, like this.
But, Daddy, you said you didn't want me to go into the movies.
I know, but you didn't have to tell him you'd rather be a lady wrestler.
Well, I would.
Jim, I'm worried.
About what?
About Betty. What are we going to tell her?
What can we tell her? We'll tell her the truth, that's all.
Jim, there are times when the truth can be very cruel, especially to an imaginative young girl.
Well, I'm certainly not going to lie to her.
Lying is a sin.
Kathy, why don't you dry up? Can't you see we've got a problem?
Yes, Bud.
Kathleen, if you start that phony coughing again...
I'm sorry, Father. I'll try to control myself, even though something deep within me...
Stop it. Margaret, if she's going to keep that up...
She won't, Jim. Will you, Kathy?
Will I what?
Kathy, darling. Mommy and Daddy have a great problem. We need your help.
Boy, are you in trouble.
Bud?
Well, holy cow. If you have to count on that knothead...
Mother!
But if you can't behave yourself, I'd suggest you go to bed.
I'm sorry.
Margaret, the plain truth of the matter is that the man wasn't impressed with Betty's performance. That's what we'll have to tell her.
I know, Jim, but not right away.
I still think he was a little out of his mind, telling me Kathy looked like a Da Vinci cherub. Kathy, stop it.
I'm sorry, Daddy. I forgot.
Margaret,
Yes, dear.
do you suppose we made a mistake? We could have sent her all the way out to California.
Jim.
What have you got against California?
You just keep it up, Bud. That's all. When I get to be a lady wrestler...
Kathy, please. We have a very great favor to ask of you, and we haven't very much time.
Margaret, I say you're making a mistake. Tell Betty the truth, and if she isn't big enough to take it...
Jim, believe me, this is one time when the truth is a very dangerous thing. If we can just convince Betty that she doesn't want to go to Hollywood...
I can just see that.
We can try, Jim. If we succeed and she doesn't want to go, then it won't make any difference if she finds out about Kathy.
In other words, you're going to put yourself at the mercy of that, cherub.
What else can we do?
Dad, how would it be...
Just a moment, Bud, please. Kathy, will you promise not to say anything to Betty about Mr. K?
Not even I'm a cherub?
Not even that.
Gee whiz.
Kathy, I have here a list titled Damages for May. Kathleen Anderson. 4 windows, 1 windshield, 2 rose bushes, 1 shrub.
Is that just May?
First half.
Gosh.
Well?
Okay, Mommy. I won't talk.
Thank you, dear.
Boy, parents can sure louse up your life.
Kathy. We're in the living room, Betty.
Remember, Kathy, not a word.
Okay.
Kathy.
You mean I can't even cough?
I'm sorry we took so long, but you know how traffic is these days.
We left the second Janie told us, but...
Mother, where is he?
Well, you see, dear...
But Janie said the talent scout was here. She told me.
Daddy sent him away.
Father!
Kathy.
Well, I didn't tell her who.
Bud, take Kathy upstairs.
Come on, Squirt.
I don't want to go upstairs. I won't say anything honest.
Come on, will ya?
Well, stop pulling me. Why do you always have to pull me?
Father, you didn't send him away. Tell me you didn't send him away.
I'm sorry, Betty, but I did.
Oh, Father.
Betty, your father and I felt it was...
My entire life is ruined. Everything I'd hoped for, everything I'd planned.
Betty, if you'd only try to understand...
Understand? Mr. Anderson, this sort of treachery passes all understanding.
What?
As Betty's director, I say you have perpetrated a crime against the arts. Stolen from the silver screen one of its most glittering gems. You have purloined.
Wait a minute. Which side are you on, anyway? You said you didn't want Betty to go into pictures.
I said that? I? Did Svengali hide Trilby under a bushel basket? Did Cecil B. DeMille?
Oh, go home.
Father!
Stop saying father. If you must know the truth...
Jim, please.
Margaret, if they're going to accuse me of having ruined the movie industry...
Betty, whatever we did was for your good. You must know that.
But after I'd worked so hard and so long, a whole month, and it's just thrown away.
Honey, you aren't ready to be an actress. You haven't lived enough or suffered enough.
I could have lived and suffered in Hollywood, couldn't I?
Betty's a great actress. One of the greatest I've ever directed. And I've had almost 2 years of it.
Wait a minute, Billy. Betty, you know, you might think Springfield is pretty dull and monotonous. But this is where you belong. This is your home.
That has nothing to do with it. I wanted a career. I wanted to be a success. And you spoiled everything.
Did I? Betty, there's one thing you've got to learn. There are a great many kinds of career. Your mother has a career, a very fine career. Your mother and millions of women just like your mother. They've raised families. They've built homes. They've worked with their husbands and helped them in 1,000 different ways. Without women like your mother, life would be a very difficult thing. True, being a wife and a mother isn't as glamorous as being a movie star, but the rewards are so much greater.
I never heard of anybody getting an Oscar for being a mother.
Well, they give out different rewards to mothers. They give a mother a baby's tears to carry in her heart. They give her laughter and love to comfort her on lonely nights. They give her dirty faces to wash and hymns to let out. They give her the greatest collection of memories a woman can want. You can take all your picture stars, all your scientists, all your women who have made names for themselves in industry and commerce, and the most successful woman, the woman with the greatest possible career, is still the plain, everyday mother.
That's telling her, Dad.
Jim.
Just a minute, Margaret. Weren't you kids told to go upstairs?
We are upstairs.
But you didn't say we couldn't listen.
Well, go do your homework or something.
Holy cow.
I'll get it.
Father,
Yes, Betty?
I'm sorry I was such a goon.
Oh, you weren't at all, Betty. You just didn't understand.
Being a mother is a very difficult thing. Very difficult indeed.
Especially if you're a man.
Yes. What?
Never mind.
Betty, naturally, we realize that you're very disappointed.
Oh, no, I'm not, Mother. Not really, I guess.
Well, anyway, you've got something Janie Liggett hasn't got. They didn't want her to be a movie star.
That's right. Wait until she hears I turned it down. Oh, Billy.
Now, just a second, Betty. Let's not make a big thing out of this. Oh, who was that on the phone, Kathy?
Oh, I took care of it. It was just a reporter from the Springfield Herald.
Kathy,
Yes, Father.
what did he want?
Oh, information about the screen test.
Jim, you'd better call them back.
Oh, he doesn't have to, Mommy. I told the man everything he wanted to know.
Which is what?
Well, he wanted to know if it was true that Miss Betty Anderson had been offered a screen test.
And what did you tell him?
I told him, yes.
Oh.
And I told him she turned it down and he wanted to know why. So I told him.
Kathy, what did you tell him?
Well, just what you said. I told him that Betty didn't want to go to Hollywood. And he said why. And I told him she was going to stay in Springfield on account of she was going to be a mother.
across the country, grocers have been doing a pleasant job in recent weeks putting lower price tags on Maxwell House coffee. And now those grocers are doing the job again. Yes, these days they're featuring Maxwell House at lower prices still, the lowest prices in months. Certainly that's welcome news for you folks who drink Maxwell House every day. And for you who haven't been getting that wonderful good to the last drop flavor, now's the time to bring home a blue Maxwell House tin. Find out how much more real enjoyment there is in a cup of coffee when it brings you the world's most famous flavor. Flavor you can count on always, because we're mighty proud of it. And we'll never compromise on the quality of a single pound. For truly good coffee, for today's coffee buy, look for Maxwell House. Featured these days at the lowest prices in months. It's always good to the last drop.
A day has passed, and in Springfield, the Andersons wait anxiously for the newspaper, which is to carry a retraction on the original story about Betty Anderson, American Mother. Buried on one of the back pages, they're going to find the retraction, all right, and it reads like this.
The editors of the Springfield Herald regret a slight inaccuracy in yesterday's story concerning the screen test offered to Miss Betty Anderson of this city. We are happy to state that there is no basis of fact in the report that she is to be a mother. In an effort to learn the complete details in this matter, however, the Herald, with its policy of accurate reporting, interviewed Mr. Alfred Kay of Metropolitan Pictures as he was leaving from the Springfield airport. Mr. Kay confirmed the fact that Miss Anderson had been offered a test and supplied the true facts concerning her refusal. After completing her education in Springfield, he told us, Miss Anderson is going to embark on a career as a lady wrestler.
The instant coffee with a famous flavor. That's Instant Maxwell House, the happiest combination in coffee. Wonderful, good to the last drop flavor, combined with the convenience and thrift of coffee made instantly in the cup. So easy, no pot, no grounds. So thrifty, saves you real money compared to ordinary coffee. So truly good, pure roaster fresh flavor. Try Instant Maxwell House, the instant coffee with a famous flavor. Instantly good to the last drop. Join us again next week when we'll be back with Father Knows Best, starring Robert Young as Jim Anderson, with Roy Bargy and the Maxwell House Orchestra, and yours truly, Bill Foreman. Don't forget, membership cards for the Robert Young Good Drivers Club are waiting for you at your local NBC station. Get a man-to-man or dad-to-daughter pledge and sign up today. Be a good driver. Get your membership card in the Robert Young Good Drivers Club today. Now, until next Thursday, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's favorite brand of coffee. Always good to the last drop. Father Knows Best was transcribed in Hollywood and written by Ed James. Now stay tuned in for Screen Guild Theater, which follows immediately over most of these stations.
Stay tuned for Humphrey Bogart in The Maltese Falcon on NBC.
From May 18th, 1950, that was Father Knows Best with Betty's Screen Test. Lastly, an episode from Murder by Experts. A newly graduated lawyer wakes up to find a dead body in their bed and faces a tough challenge trying to dispose of it. From June 13th, 1949, this is Murder by Experts with Summer Heat.
Murder by Experts.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents Murder by Experts, with your host and narrator, Mr. John Dixon Carr, world-famous mystery novelist and author of the recently published bestseller, The Life of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
This is John Dixon Carr. Each evening at this time, Murder by Experts brings you a story of crime and mystery which has been chosen for your approval by one of the world's leading detective writers, those experts who are themselves masters of the art of murder and can hold tensity at its highest. Tonight's guest expert is Mr. Hugh Pentecost, author of many memorable thrillers, who has selected a story by a young newcomer you'll do well to watch, Andrew Evans. Be very careful as you listen, for, as Mr. Pentecost says of this thriller, the story has not only a twist, but an unforeseen double twist, which takes one completely by surprise. And now we present Summer Heat. Look now at the old elms, the ivy-covered buildings on the campus of a small Midwestern university. It's a fine June afternoon when you hear laughter and the greetings of the reunion of the class of 36. 12 years have passed, but none of the members of the class seems much older to each other. There's the dark-haired Paul Baxter wandering rather strangely. There are two of his old friends, prosperous now, judged by their clothes, and boisterous in greeting.
Paul Baxter, you old rascal. It's sure good to see you again.
Hello, Steve. Bert, this is a surprise.
Why didn't you ever write to us, Paul? You had our addresses. Why, sure. That's no way to treat old classmates. Just think, 12 years. Yeah. Oh, they sure have gone fast.
Too fast to suit me. Say, Paul, you've turned awful gray for only 33.
Well, he always did take things too seriously. I suppose by now, Paul, you're one of the biggest lawyers in the state, huh? How's Marcia?
Yeah, you were all set to marry her after graduation, remember?
Yes, and you were going to become her father's junior law partner. Oh, you sure had a sweet setup there.
Well, things worked out a little differently. You see, that party we had graduation night, do you remember it?
Remember it? How can we forget it?
Oh, that was a real blowout. And were you tight, Paul?
Well, you know, that party sort of changed my whole life.
Changed your life? Well, how?
Well, I don't remember much about the party itself. I guess I had too many drinks. In fact, I don't remember anything until I woke up the next morning. I could hear old Trinity ringing. I awoke to find myself on the couch in my living room. It was noon, and the room was hot, stiflingly hot. I remembered I had a date with Marcia and her father at 1 o'clock. I got to my feet. My head ached. There were heat waves before my eyes. Feeling sick, I staggered toward my bedroom, and then I saw him. A man, asleep on my bed, his back to me. For a moment, I stood there, trying to remember if someone had come home from the party with me. But the night before was a total blank. I crossed to the bed, bent over, shook his shoulder. Hey, fella. Hey, it's noon. Wake up. Come on, wake up. As I shook him, he had flopped over and looked up at me with staring eyes. He was dead. And there was a knife in his chest. My hunting knife. I stood stunned, staring down at the body on my bed. The dead man was an utter stranger to me. He was neatly dressed in old clothes. And my knife was in his heart. I killed him. I couldn't remember when or how or why, but I'd killed him. Frantically, I tried to remember what had happened. Was he a panhandler? Someone I'd met on the street and drunkenly brought home with me? I didn't know. I couldn't remember. As I stood there, trying to get a grip on myself, I suddenly realized there was someone at the door. Instinctively, I walked into the living room and towards the door. Just as I was about to open it, I realized the danger of letting anyone into the apartment. I put my ear against the door and listened. I heard voices. Yours, Steve. And yours, Bert.
Hey, Paul, open up. We want to say goodbye. Come on, Paul. Wake up, will you? We're leaving for California in 15 minutes. I guess old Paul isn't in. Yeah. I wonder how he felt when he woke up. Boy, what a head he must have had. Still, I sure hate to leave without saying goodbye. Well, he has our California address. He can write to us. Come on, or we'll miss that train.
Then they were both gone, and I dared to breathe again. I tried to think calmly, figure out what to do. I knew I should call the police, but they might charge me with murder. And what defense could I offer? I thought of Marcia. The slightest scandal and everything would be off. Our marriage, my job, my future. I couldn't call the police. I couldn't call them and sacrifice everything I'd worked for. Somehow I had to get the body out of my apartment, get rid of it before it was found. Then it came to me. My car was in the basement, garage. The dumbwaiter in the kitchen led down to the basement. I could put the dead man in the dumbwaiter, lower him to the basement, get him in my car, and then...
Mr. Paul! Oh, Mr. Paul!
It was Jenny, the cleaning woman. She'd let herself in with a key. I hurried into the living room, closing the bedroom door behind me.
Oh, there you are. A fine time for a rising young lawyer to be getting up.
Oh, hello, Jenny. I guess I overslept. I was at a party last night.
A party, was it? Everyone on the campus is talking about it. And the complaints. Well, now, step aside and let me into that bedroom. I got to start cleaning.
Jenny, can't you come back later and do the place?
No, I can't. Now, get out of my way.
Jenny, wait. I don't want you to clean up yet.
Paul, what's wrong? Why are you blocking the door like that?
Well, the truth of the matter is, one of the boys had a bit too much last night, and he's in my bedroom sleeping it off.
Oh, well, get him out of there. Take him to a Turkish bath.
Turkish bath. Oh, yes, that's a good idea. Look, Jenny, just give me half an hour to get him dressed and out of here. Then you can come back and clean up.
A half hour, nothing. I'll give you exactly 5 minutes.
All right, Jenny, I'll have him out of here by then.
You'd better.
She was gone, and I had 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. I went into the bedroom and quickly went through the dead man's pockets. They were empty. There was no identification in them. The thin, pinched face told me he was a nobody, a derelict, someone who might never be missed. As I was about to lift him off the bed, the phone rang. Its shrill ring filled the room. Hello?
Hello, darling.
Marcia.
How was your stag party last night? Did you miss me?
Miss you?
You sound as though you have a dreadful hangover.
Hangover? Oh, yes. Oh, excuse me a minute, Marcia. There's someone at the door. Yes?
I'll be coming in to clean your room in another minute, Paul.
Jenny.
So get your friend out of there.
Oh, yes, Jenny, yes. Just give me another minute and we'll be out of here. Marcia, I can't talk to you any longer. I'm in a hurry.
Then you haven't forgotten your appointment with Father and myself at 1 o'clock.
No. I may be a little late, but I'll be there.
Paul, you mustn't be late. I've told you over and over what a stickler Father is for punctuality. He can't stand people who are late for appointments. Well, you recall how furious he was when you didn't
I know,
show up.
Marcia, but
You have 45 minutes to shave, shower, and dress. That's plenty of time. And, Paul, wear your gray flannel suit with a blue knitted tie and be sure you're there on
Yes,
time,
Marcia,
darling.
yes, but I've got to hang up. Jenny will be coming back any minute that I...
Well, what if she is? Now, darling, you haven't forgotten what we discussed yesterday afternoon.
Yesterday afternoon.
Yes. No, I know Father's brusque and inclined to bully people, but don't let it upset you. After all, it's our future he's...
Marcia, I can't talk any longer. I've got to hang up. Jenny will be back. I've only seconds left.
What in the world are you talking about? Now, when Father asks
Marcia, I've
you...
got to hang up. I've got to. Goodbye. I hung up the phone. My face. It took only a moment to lift him off the bed, carry him into the kitchen, pull the dumbwaiter up, and put his body into it. I closed the door to the dumbwaiter, ran out of the apartment, and started down the stairs to the basement. I got down to the basement to find Ben, the janitor, leisurely pulling on the dumbwaiter rope. Ben! Oh, Ben.
Oh, hello, Paul. If it's your car you're after, it's there by the door, all washed like you asked.
Thanks, but Ben, stop a minute, will you? I want you to do something for me.
Sure, Paul, just as soon as I've emptied this dumbwaiter.
Will you stop blowing that dumbwaiter? Stop it here!
Hey, what's wrong with you? You're acting mighty strange.
I'm sorry I shouted like that, Ben. It's just that there's a package up in my apartment that I'd like you to mail right away. There's $1 in it for you.
All right. But there ain't no need to rush. Today's Sunday. The post office is closed.
Closed?
Sure. Say, what's the matter with you anyway? Must be the heat. Something awful heavy on this dumbwaiter.
Ben, wait a minute. There's something else.
How's that?
Stop a minute, will you? How can I talk to you while you're lowering that dumbwaiter?
Well, go ahead. I can hear everything you're saying.
Let go of that rope. Let go, you hear it?
Hey! You going crazy or something? I've half a mind to call the super and tell him what
No, don't do that. Ben, up in my apartment, there's a bottle.
Bottle?
Yes, I brought it home last night. It's half full. I wanted you to have it for cleaning the car.
Oh, thanks. I sure appreciate that, Paul. I'll go up and get it as soon as I've emptied this dumbwaiter. It's almost down now.
But Ben, Jenny just went in to clean. You know how she feels about drinking?
Jenny? Jumping grasshoppers. Why didn't you say so? That woman will pour it all down the drain if I don't get there first.
As soon as Ben disappeared up the stairs, I pulled the dumbwaiter the rest of the way down, opened the door, and he fell into my arms. Slinging the body over my shoulder, I staggered with it to my car and swiftly dropped him on the floor in the back. It was an old touring car. The top was long since gone. To hide the body from view, I covered it with an old blanket. A moment later, I started the motor and rolled smoothly out of the basement and into the driveway. As I did, I heard Ben shouting to me from my window.
Oh, hey, Paul, wait a minute. I got something.
I pretended not to hear Ben calling. Instead, I stepped on the gas. I was almost proud of myself as I drove past the campus. I was in trouble, but I was thinking fast, as a good lawyer should. I'd already decided I'd have to get rid of him by dumping him into the river. As I came to Main Street, driving neither too fast nor too slow, I turned left toward the river. There was very little traffic, and I was just about to speed up when behind me I heard a whistle blowing. It was Dugan, the town's only traffic cop, and he was blowing for me to stop. There was nothing to do but pull over to the curb. As Dugan hurried up to me, I realized I'd driven through a red light. Hello, Dugan.
Never mind that hello, Dugan stuff. What's the matter? You colorblind?
I'm sorry, Dugan. I just didn't notice the light.
You just didn't notice the light. That's fine. Think you and me had better take a ride over to Justice Miller.
Oh, look, don't run me in, Dugan. It won't happen again.
That's what all you college cut-ups say. Next thing you know, you'll be telling me... What do you got there in the back? Underneath that blanket?
Under the blanket?
You heard me. What's under it?
Why, that's Roy Hamilton, one of my classmates.
Yeah, well, what's he lying on the floor under a blanket on a hot day like this for?
Last night at our farewell shindig, Roy had a few too many. He's still out. I'm taking him home.
Where does he live?
At Mrs. Randolph's boarding house.
What are you handing me? That's in the other direction.
Yes, I know, but first I'm taking him to the Turkish Bath on Elm Street.
Yeah, well, by the time you get him there, the poor guy will be dead. Ain't you got no sense?
What do you mean?
Look at the way you got the blanket over his head, and in this heat, too. I better pull the blanket off his face so he can breathe.
No. I mean, I covered his face on purpose. Suppose Dean Richards or somebody saw Roy like this.
Yeah, that's right. But just the same, I better...
Constable, could I see you for a minute?
I'll be right with you, Jensen. Where were we, Baxter? Oh, yeah, the guy in the back. He'll smother to death if we don't move the...
It's important. I've got to see you right away.
I'm coming. I won't run you in this time, Baxter, but from now on, stay awake when you're driving.
I will, Dugan.
And for Pete's sake, pull the blanket off that guy's head. Take it easy, Jensen. I'm coming.
As I stepped on the gas, I muttered a prayer of thanks for old Johnson, the janitor of the medical school building, who had called Dugan just as he was reaching for the blanket that covered my passenger. It was a few minutes after 1 as I drove out of town. I could picture Marcia's father fuming in my lateness. The sun was scorching in my open car as I drove along River Road, looking for a place to hide the body. I needed one where there were trees to hide me. The river ran beside the road. The hours that followed were like a nightmare. The heat was stifling, and I could feel my hand shaking on the wheel from nervous tension. I drove and drove and drove, looking for a place to get rid of the body. But the whole countryside seemed to be swarming with people, families picnicking, Boy Scouts camping, kids in swimming, couples in parked cars. No matter where I turned, there was always someone in sight. Little spots danced before my eyes. Waves of faintness swept over me. My hand began to ache, and my head, too. Unbearably. It was already long after 3. I was late for my date with Marcia and her father. That didn't matter. Nothing mattered but to get rid of the body in the back of the car. I had to get rid of it. I had to. I drove, mile after mile, turning from one road to another, searching endlessly for a safe place to stop. Then I realized I was running out of gas. I saw a gas station ahead, and I decided to stop there. It was a risk, but I had to take it.
Okay, mister. That's 5 gallons. Want me to check your oil?
No, thanks. How much?
It's $1.15. Whew, boy, it's hot, isn't it?
Yes, it's hot, all right. Here you are.
That's $1.15 out of 5. Now get your change. Hey, this rear tire looks a little flat.
It's all right.
You want me to check it? Won't take but a minute.
It's all right, I tell you.
Okay, mister, just you say. Your rear door's open. I better shut that for you.
Leave that door alone.
Ah, but, you don't want to drive along with your rear door open. That's funny. There's, something in the car jamming it. I better have a...
Leave that door alone and get my change.
But you... All right, mister. Just as you say. Get your change.
He hurried into the station. I looked in the back of the car and saw what had kept the door from closing. It was a hand. His hand sticking out from under the blanket. The attendant had seen it. He would be phoning the police. I drove faster and faster. The police would be on the lookout for me now. My whole future depended on what I did in the next few minutes. And then it came to me. In one brief moment, it came to me. The perfect way to get rid of the body. It was so simple, so perfect, that I laughed aloud with relief. A half hour later, I was parked in an alley behind one of the university buildings. It was Sunday, and the place was deserted. Despite my fatigue and aching head, it took me but a moment to carry the body into the basement of the medical building and down the corridor to the basement room where the bodies for the dissecting classes were kept. Where does a wise man hide a leaf? In a forest. Where does a wise man hide a body? In the dissecting room. The room was big and cool and dimly lit. The far end was a long metal tank. I reached the tank and lowered him to the stone floor beside it. I had only to open the tank, slip him inside, and leave. I reached for the lid of the preserving tank and was about to open it when I heard a voice.
Hey, who's in there?
It was Johnson, the janitor. I quickly dropped behind the tank and waited, holding my breath.
I heard you. Stop hiding and come out. I know you're here. I just saw your car through the window. You better come out if you know what's good for you.
He'd seen my car. He knew I was in the room, but if I kept my head, there was a chance, just a chance. All right, Johnson. Here I am.
Baxter, eh? So it's you, is it? You're the one who...
Johnson, wait a minute. Let me explain.
Explain, huh? After last night, I'm not listening to any fancy stories. I'm the one who gets blamed when... What's that on the floor behind you there?
On the floor? What? Nothing, Johnson.
Do you think I'm blind or something? Step aside and let me see what... Why, it's your body.
Yes. It's a body.
So that's it. I thought you were trying to steal one. Instead, you were bringing it.
Yes, I was bringing it.
And just what were you going to do with that gentleman on the floor? Put him back in the tank with the rest?
Yes, that's right. I thought he might not be noticed.
As if I wouldn't have known.
Well, go on. Call the cops. Let's get it over with.
All right, Baxter. Of course, I don't have to call the cops. Nobody knows about this but you and me.
What do you mean?
Well, I was going to make a report, but this way there's no harm done, so I might be able to overlook the whole thing if I was persuaded properly.
You might overlook it?
That's right. You just leave this fella to me and there's no fuss because nobody's the wiser.
You'd do that? You'd keep your mouth shut?
I guess I could be persuaded to.
How much?
Well, suppose we say $50.
$50?
That isn't much, considering what would happen if I reported you.
Oh, no, it isn't $50. That's very cheap to help me cover up a murder.
Murder? More of your jokes. I'm not talking about murder. I'm talking about putting number 37 here back in his proper place.
Number 37?
Yes, 37. He just came in yesterday from the county poor farm, and last night he disappeared, stolen by you and your drunken friends, and dressed up for a joke. Well, I don't like jokes like that. I drove downtown a while back to tell Dugan the constable about it, but... Well, I didn't tell him anything. It would mean trouble for me for being asleep on the job.
Number 37. He was stolen from here last night.
Aye, that's what I said. As long as you've brought him back, there's no harm done. That's why I'm willing to keep it quiet.
Then I didn't kill him. It was just a joke somebody played on me. Just a practical joke.
Here. What's wrong with you?
It's a joke. It's a very good joke on me. This whole afternoon driving in the heat, trying to get rid of him. It was just a joke. A joke.
For goodness sakes, he's fainted.
Well, that's the story of what happened the day after our graduation party 12 years ago. When I came to, I was in the college hospital. I'd been unconscious a week. They said it was just a slight breakdown brought on by sunstroke. I was all right after a while, but somehow I wasn't interested in law anymore. Marcia and I didn't get married, and I didn't become her father's junior law partner.
Good Lord, Paul. We never knew any of this.
Gosh, Paul, I can't tell you how sorry I am. We never dreamed our gag would turn out like that.
Your gag?
Why, sure. See, after the party broke up that night, we were feeling pretty high, and... Well, it was a crazy idea, but we thought it would be funny to steal a cadaver from the medical college and leave it in your room with your knife in it.
Then it was you? The two of you?
Well, yes, Paul. Gosh, I feel terrible about this, but... Well, that day we left, we came up to your apartment to tell you about our little joke, only you weren't in.
We had to rush for our train, but we phoned from the station. Ben, the janitor, answered, and we told him to explain about the cadaver.
I heard him calling, but I didn't stop.
Paul, will you ever be able to forgive us for what happened?
Forgive you? Forgive you? No! No, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you, do you hear? Kill you!
Hey, wait a minute.
No!
Bert, help me.
Paul, let him go.
He's choking me.
Go,
Help me.
I kill you!
Here he is, men.
Grab him!
Quick, grab him.
Let go of me! Let go!
Quick, now, get him back to the hospital.
I'll kill him!
Take him out.
I'll kill him! I'll kill him! I'll kill him! Now, you hurt, mister?
No, I'm all right. But you came just in time. He was trying to kill me.
Why, he sure was. He just went crazy.
Well, I'm sure sorry this happened. You see, he slipped away from the hospital this afternoon. We figured he'd head this way.
The hospital?
Yes. Poor fella had a bad breakdown just after he graduated 12 years ago. He's been locked up ever since.
Locked up?
Yeah. He's always been perfectly harmless, though. He just went around all the time looking for a place to hide something. This is the first time he ever got violent. I can't figure out what came over him.
And so the curtain falls on Summer Heat, which was chosen by guest expert Hugh Pentecost, whose latest thriller, Where the Snow Was Red, will be published next month. We welcome your comments on tonight's story. All letters should be addressed to Murder by Experts, care of Mutual Broadcasting System, New York 18, New York. Next week at this time, Murder by Experts brings you the story of a woman who pitted her wits against death. A story selected for your approval by Brett Halliday, creator of the rough, tough detective known as Mike Shane. Until then, this is your host, John Dixon Carr, saying good night.
In our cast were Lawson Zerby, Bryna Rayburn, Ian Martin, Cameron Andrews, Bill Zuckert, and Frank Behrens. Summer Heat by Andrew Evans was adapted for radio by Robert A. Arthur and David Kogan. Original music was composed by Richard LePage. The orchestra was conducted by Emerson Buckley. Murder by Experts is produced and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Kogan. All characters in this story were fictitious, and any resemblance to the names of actual persons was purely coincidental. Phil Tonkin speaking. This is the world's largest network serving more than 500 radio stations, the Mutual Broadcasting System.
That was Murder by Experts with Summer Heat, as originally heard June 13th, 1949. I'll be back with some additional thoughts right after this. Welcome back to Classic Radio Rewind. As we approach the holiday season, you'll notice more marathons and special broadcasts on the horizon. With Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's just sort of somewhat around the corner, we're kicking things off with a programming note. Mark your calendars for Saturday, September 21st, when we present our annual WJSV A Day in Radio History special. On a September Thursday in 1939, the world was watching Europe as war loomed. And in Washington, D.C., President Roosevelt was preparing to address Congress on U.S. neutrality. Now, during this time, WJSV, a Washington radio station, recorded an entire day of programming, capturing every moment from sign-on 6 a.m. to sign-off 1 a.m. on 38 lacquer discs, which were later preserved by the National Archives. So join us at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on September 21st as Old Time Radio USA brings you this unique historical broadcast. Next week on Classic Radio Rewind, we will feature episodes from Sherlock Holmes, Burns and Allen, the Screen Guild's Players, and Boston Blackie. So be sure to tune in and don't miss a single moment of Classic Radio Rewind next week. I thank you for listening as always, and until then, this is Barry Slinker saying goodbye for now.
Classic Radio Rewind is a production of the WOTR Radio Network. For more Classic Radio Rewind and to listen to any of the WOTR Radio Network stations, go to www.wotrradionetwork.com.